Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Ashley Stevens. Thank you for joining us. The nation mourns again today after another mass shooting, this time at a Texas elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Yesterday afternoon, an 18-year-old gunman broke into a fourth grade classroom. By the time authorities finally got to the shooter, 19 children were dead, as well as 2 teachers, just 2 days before summer vacation. President Joe Biden addressed the nation last night calling for gun reform.
The idea that an 18-year-old kid can walk into a gun store and buy 2 assault weapons is just wrong. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill someone? Deer aren't running through the forest with Kevlar vests on, for God's sake.
This is the second mass shooting in less than 2 weeks in the U.S. And according to the Gun Violence Archive, there have been more than 200 mass shootings this year alone. Some Arizona lawmakers are sharing thoughts about the shooting on social media. Republican Representative Debbie Lesko tweeted, "Heartbroken to hear of the events in Uvalde, Texas today. My thoughts and prayers are with the victims, the injured, and their families." Democratic Congressman Ruben Gallego tweeted in part, "We have surrendered our communities and our children to an endless parade of tragedy. Enough with the thoughts and prayers. We must take action and confront gun violence." And Democratic Senator Mark Kelly tweeted his call for reform. After witnessing yet another tragedy, Arizonans are right to expect action from Washington. They should demand it. I know I will. It's not just lawmakers that have been weighing in on the Texas shooting.
Right now, who refuse to vote on H.R. 8, which is a background check rule that the House passed a couple of years ago. It's been sitting there for 2 years. And there's a reason they won't vote on it, to hold on to power.
Steve Kerr isn't alone in his feelings. Twitter has been bombarded in the wake of the shooting with people asking their state senators and representatives one question: why are they not passing legislation? When it comes to gun reform, many cite the powerful lobbying of the NRA as a barrier to legislation. Data compiled by OpenSecrets.org shows that the National Rifle Association has donated over $1 million for and against Arizona candidates. Rachel Fortunato has been looking at the numbers and joins us in the newsroom.
Republican Arizona members of Congress have received over $200,000 from the NRA directly and indirectly. Representative David Schweikert and Paul Gosar received the highest amounts. OpenSecrets.org, a nonpartisan research group that tracks money in U.S. politics, shows Schweikert receiving donations worth over $98,000 and Gosar accepting over $46,000. Democrat members of Congress Ann Kirkpatrick, Tom O'Halloran, and Raul Grijalva are on the opposite side of the spectrum. OpenSecrets.org shows NRA donations used to oppose their campaigns, with the most going to oppose Representative Kirkpatrick at over $46,000. The NRA also spent money against Arizona Senators Mark Kelly and Kyrsten Sinema. According to the public records, more than $868,000 have been used to try to defeat Kelly, and over $248,000 to defeat Sinema. Nationwide, guns rights groups spent a record amount of money lobbying in 2021. At the Google touchscreen, I'm Rachel Fortunato, Cronkite News.
Brittany Griner has been gone almost 100 days now, leaving her friends and family to wonder what's being done to bring her home. Griner, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, has been detained since February 17th. She was detained after vaping cartridges containing cannabis were reportedly found in her bags. Griner's wife, Sherelle Griner, has only had letters from her since that day. In an interview with Good Morning America, Sherelle called out the administration. She said, quote, "You say she's top priority, but I want to see it, and I want to feel to see it would be me seeing BG on U.S. soil." Wildfire season has started in Arizona, and with the increased threat of fires come new policies to keep park goers safe. Yesterday, government officials and national forests across Arizona issued new camping and fire restrictions. These restrictions are aimed at protecting Arizona's 6 national forests. Those forests are 15% of the entire state. Some of the restrictions include limits on shooting, welding, running chainsaws, and using generators. These restrictions go into effect across the state today and tomorrow. Burnout during the pandemic is a top concern for healthcare workers, and that was the subject of a roundtable discussion this week here in Phoenix. Julio Moro Rodriguez heard from a U.S. Surgeon General and the Assistant Secretary for Health about their visit with area healthcare providers.
U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy is traveling the country to hear from healthcare workers. In Phoenix, healthcare providers expressed their concerns with burnout in a closed meeting. After the meeting, the Surgeon General held a press conference at the Phoenix Indian Medical Center.
We came here to learn a little bit more about their experiences, to thank the staff here, and to talk about how we can build a broader movement in our country to address health worker burnout.
Vivek Murthy says burnout is a national crisis and is a major factor in a health worker shortage in the country. 1
in 5 doctors are saying they plan to leave their clinical practice. Imagine a scenario where you break a bone or you're sick and have to go to the hospital, but you have to wait for a long period of time because there's a staffing shortage.
Dr. Claire Nechiporenko, Chief of Pediatrics at the Indian Medical Center, says her experiences in the Indian Health Service helped her avoid burnout.
You make your colleagues connections, they become family, all of a sudden, well, friends, and then they become family, and you're over at, supporting each other. And I think that was probably one of the keys to preventing burnout.
Jasmine Lopez is an experienced clinician in the mental health care field. She advises healthcare workers who are struggling to listen to their body.
Practicing mindfulness, so any type of mindfulness activities, meditation, any type of physical activity to get like that negative energy out of you. Because if you do let that stress accumulate and lead to burnout, just depending on how severe it is, it can take a long time to get out of it.
Surgeon General Murthy also says all of society has to step up to ultimately take care of our healthcare workers. In Phoenix, Julio Moro Rodriguez, Cronkite News.
The advice isn't just for healthcare workers. Lopez reminds everyone that mental health is important and to pay attention to when you need a break. The Arizona Court of Appeals made a move to help protect the First Amendment yesterday. The court ruled that a 2020 case must be thrown out. The case was charged under a 2017 law that makes it a crime to pay people for each signature they collect for ballot initiatives. Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich used the law to charge Petition Partners, a signature gathering firm, with 50 misdemeanors. The charges would have cost the firm $50 million in fines. Walmart is now bringing its store directly to your house with, you guessed it, drones. 4 million people across 6 states, including here in Arizona, will soon have access to Walmart's Drone Up program. Between the hours of 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., customers will be able to have Walmart's products delivered to them by air. You could have a max of 10 pounds of products lowered onto your doorstep. Each participating store will have certified pilots operating under FAA guidelines. Walmart says this expansion of Drone Up will allow them to deliver 1 million drone packages a year. 2 animals recently rescued by the Arizona Humane Society are really living an Hakuna Matata life. Timon and Pumbaa are not just a Chihuahua and a pig, they're also best friends. The pair were rescued recently earlier this month when their owner was picked up on charges unrelated to the animals. Now the Arizona Humane Society doesn't really recommend that pigs and dogs stay together, but after seeing Timon and Pumbaa together, they made an exception. The pair is currently at Better Piggies Rescue. After the break, we'll take a look back at stories from our politics team, from efforts to stop observing daylight savings time to efforts to create a lieutenant governor position here in Arizona.
And that's the way it is. Monday, September.
Newscasting has changed a lot since the time of Walter Cronkite. That's why here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, you can learn the studio production skills of today in real time. Whether you want to work audio, direct, technical direct, design graphics, or you can even run the floor. It's all part of the Television Production and Graphics Lab here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. We're going on in 3, 2...
Take a journey with Arizona PBS. Join us every Sunday afternoon for Destination Drama. Watch all your favorite PBS dramas like Grantchester.
I'm William Davenport, new vicar of Grantchester.
Poldark.
Nothing in my life has meaning without you.
And Victoria.
I know that I'm young, but I know my duty.
And if you missed a recent primetime drama, we'll help you catch up on those too. Destination Drama, every Sunday afternoon at 1, only on Arizona PBS. Watch Arizona PBS any way you want, on air and online. Download the PBS video app to stream your favorite PBS programs anytime you want. And you can even watch Arizona PBS live, wherever you are, right from our website at azpbs.org. Don't forget about all your favorite PBS Kids shows, too, on the PBS Kids video app. Watch Arizona PBS, your way today.
Your favorite member benefit is getting better and bigger.
This is wonderful.
Over the next year, Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream.
They give us all that they've got.
From your favorite cooking and travel series.
Even the stairs are breathtaking.
To history specials and award-winning documentaries. Better and bigger.
That really is the fun part.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
I was so excited when I learned that I was going to be the next moderator of Washington Week. I was incredibly lucky to be mentored by Gwen Ifill, and what that gave to me was this confidence that I could be my full self and that I was deserving of whatever spaces I was in.
Welcome to Washington Week.
I also feel this great joy in taking the helm of Washington Week, knowing that I can mold it and make it my own, but also make sure that it is still within the legacy and the tradition that made it so great for all of these years.
Hey, I'm Rick Steves. You know, I don't go anywhere without my Passport. Thanks to PBS Passport, you can watch all my travel specials. This exclusive streaming service is just for our members. Not only can you see all my shows, but you can see thousands of hours of your favorite public television shows. Become a member today.
In Arizona, we don't have to worry about the twice-a-year shift between standard time and daylight saving time, but it still affects us. Now, Congress is looking at making daylight saving time permanent, but that's not as simple as it sounds, as Alexia Stanbridge reports from our Washington bureau.
Scott Yates hails the Senate's recent decision to end the twice-a-year shift between standard time and daylight saving time as, quote, a great day for clock sanity. But is it really? While most people like the idea of a year-round standard time, they differ on what the standard should be.
Arizona tried it 55 years ago this summer in 1967, and there was a huge public outcry against daylight saving time.
Under the Sunshine Protection Act of 2021, clocks would permanently move forward to what is now daylight saving time. States could opt out, as Arizona does now, but that presents another problem.
The Navajo Nation will be permanently an hour ahead of Phoenix time.
That's what happens now during daylight savings time. If it's 1 o'clock in Arizona, it's 2 o'clock on Navajo Nation. But on the Hopi Reservation, it's 1 o'clock, which is located inside Navajo Nation. In New Mexico and Utah, they're an hour ahead at 2 o'clock. Confusing? Maybe, but there's more. Most experts agree that locking the clock is a good idea, but they're not all keen on being locked in daylight savings time.
When we sleep at a time that's not aligned with when the sun is telling our bodies that it's time to be awake and sleep, we have what's called circadian misalignment.
Aaron Flynn Evans says staying in daylight saving time can lead to increased risk of cancer, cardiovascular disease, strokes, and more long-term health issues. Standard time is safer, she says.
That better aligns with the timing of sunrise and sunset, and therefore it better aligns with how our bodies promote sleep and wake.
But she agrees with Scott Yates that switching back and forth isn't healthy for anybody.
So now we know, with science, we know that the changing, especially in the spring, is really deadly. A lot of people have heart attacks and strokes and workplace accidents.
Shermer Horn, the Arizona State University history professor, says that whatever Congress decides, Arizona is likely to stay the same as it always has.
Why start the day that much farther, into the heat of the summer? So I think we're good.
Yates, who founded the Lock the Clock movement 8 years ago, says he's just happy to see his work may soon pay off.
It's never been great. It's never really done the thing that it was supposed to do.
In Washington, Alexia Stanbridge, Cronkite News.
A bill working its way through the state legislature could create a new executive office in the state of Arizona. Cronkite News reporter Mitchell Zimmerman explains how this bill could change Arizona's constitution.
According to the Arizona State Constitution, the Arizona Secretary of State takes over when the governor leaves office early, unlike most states that have a lieutenant governor office, but voters may have a chance to change that. Think about a governor and lieutenant governor like the president and vice president. They're a team from one party, and when you vote for one, you're voting for the potential for the other to take over.
This would present to the voters the opportunity to create this first in line to be governor office, so that we can have continuity, consistency, predictability.
SCR 1024 would establish the office of Lieutenant Governor of Arizona. Mesnard believes the Lieutenant Governor would be more suited to take over rather than the Secretary of State.
And as important as that office is, it's an office that focuses on elections, it focuses on record keeping.
In the last 50 years, Arizona's governors have left office early a total of 5 times. Most recently in 2009, Jan Brewer, a Republican, became governor after Governor Janet Napolitano, a Democrat, was appointed as Director of Homeland Security.
We do have a high propensity to have the governor vacate the office.
James Strickland with Arizona State University says having the governor and lieutenant governor run together can help solve the issue of party switches if a governor left office early.
They run together as running mates, and so in that case, you very often see this wingman analogy.
And Senator Mesnard says he doesn't just want this position to be a figurehead. The potential lieutenant governor could run the Department of Administration,
which is an agency that's plugged into every area of the government, which is sort of good training ground for them if they then ascend to the governorship.
SCR 1024 already passed the Senate on a 21-6 vote. If it also passes the House and is signed by the governor, the voters would approve or reject this proposal in November. Similar efforts have been tried in the past but rejected by voters twice. In the newsroom, Mitchell Zimmerman, Cronkite News.
Arizona's congressional delegation and members of the Ukrainian community here were swift to react to the news out of Kiev. Faith Abercrombie tells us there is a shared sense of urgency.
Ukrainian communities in Arizona and all over the world are grieving and urging Congress to take action not only for their country, but for their family.
My godson and his father got enlisted in the army, and he was a baby. I held it, and he is now 24. He is proud Ukrainian, and he is going to risk his life, and I'm praying that he come back alive.
At an infrastructure event this morning, Congressman Greg Stanton took a moment to talk about the Ukraine crisis. He says America will lead the world in taking action. However, it will take every country to get the message across.
You don't invade another sovereign nation. We are going to stand strong, and we are going to make sure that Vladimir Putin knows that the world is against what he has done.
Other members of Arizona's delegation agree. Democratic Congressman Tom O'Halloran released a statement that says in part, Congress must continue to support the Ukrainian people and our NATO allies, especially those who border Russia, through increased military aid. And Republican Congresswoman Debbie Lesko tweeted, we must never forget these heinous acts and must respond swiftly with the highest levels of sanctions. Olena Melnik has family members in Ukraine. She says it will take more than just sanctions to protect and stand for the Ukrainian people.
We want to ask all Democrats and Republicans to stand together in this resistance against Russian aggression in all possible ways, political, diplomatical, financial, humanitarian aid. If we will not resist, the history shows we all will suffer.
In Tempe, Faith Abercrombie, Cronkite News.
Many here in Arizona are watching with special interest as events unfold in Ukraine. Russian natives who have made their homes in the valley for decades have been watching too, and worrying for their friends back home. Alexia Stanbridge has more on this story from our Washington bureau.
It's been years since Paul Anseliovich moved away from Moscow, and since Nikolai Ryasnyavsky left behind both the big city and the Russian small town where he grew up. But the years and the miles have not made the events of recent weeks easier for them to watch.
It's painful, to see this unnecessary tension between our countries.
Both men still have family and friends in Russia, where Ryasnyavsky says the people are, quote, sick and tired.
Okay, it's a huge political game. Unfortunately, a lot of people, are going to pay.
As a Russian American, Anseliovich says the invasion of Ukraine has left him embarrassed for his native land.
It's very sad, to be honest, and I feel, to be honest, I kind of feel ashamed. Because it shouldn't happen, really.
Their friends and neighbors in Arizona know of their heritage, but both men said that has not been an issue. And if people did ask, they would have a response to what President Joe Biden today called Putin's war.
There's nothing to defend. I'm against those actions. I always defend Russian people, though.
Anseliovich says the most common reaction from his Arizona neighbors has not been animosity, but curiosity. What both say is one of the things they appreciate about the United States.
That's the kind of a distinctive part of the United States, attitude, people in the United States, yeah.
While both still value their Russian heritage, Anseliovich visits family and friends in Russia yearly. There's no question this is their home now. Ryasnyavsky, a real estate agent, moved in 1992, and Anseliovich, a pediatrician, came to the United States in 1998, and both say they enjoy their lives in Arizona.
I've been lucky to experience life there, lucky to experience life here, look at my life from a different perspective. It's absolutely unique experience.
In Washington, Alexia Stambridge, Cronkite News.
Before they came to Arizona, Anseliovich lived in Los Angeles and Ryasnyavsky lived in Seattle. Both men told us they came to the U.S. for the most American of reasons. They saw better opportunity in the new world than in their own.
Inflation is increasing both at the state and national levels. And according to the National Federation of Independent Business, 31% of small business owners reported inflation as the #1 problem their business is facing. Cronkite News reporter Madison Thomas found out what this means for Arizonans.
According to the NFIB, inflation has taken the top spot as small business owners' #1 concern, as it has just surpassed labor quality. However, the organization's director says the situation here in Arizona is looking brighter than most places. To the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics in February, the Phoenix, Mesa, and Scottsdale areas saw an inflation rate increase of 10.9% from the last year. This was 3 points higher than the national rate of 7.9%. The most recent data from last month showed a national rate of 8.5%. The NFIB report also shows that there is a record low expectation for better business conditions to come. However, Chad Heinrich, NFIB's Arizona State Director, says that the report looks at things at a national level and not at individual states.
When we look at Arizona, we definitely have a bright side because we do have a pro-small business legislature and elected officials. And so we do see policies being adopted at the legislature that are helpful for small business and will actually help us get through this period of time in our economy.
According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Phoenix area saw the highest rate of inflation over the past year in comparison to other metropolitan areas. In Phoenix, Madison Thomas, Cronkite News.
As many places around the country are throttling back on COVID-19 protocols, business owners continue to find new ways to stay in business. Ashley Hudjaleski takes a look at whether these new business methods are here to stay.
When the pandemic first began, many business owners had to quickly adjust their work routines, whether it was going from in-person meetings to strictly Zoom or gearing their restaurants for an influx in takeout and delivery orders. Honey Bear's barbecue owner Mark Smith says his business really had to pivot.
A lot of people didn't know how to switch over from fine dining or dining in to deliveries and pickups. We did a lot of Grubhub, DoorDash. We did online ordering and stuff like that, and that is huge.
Smith says his takeout business increased 130%, And he, like others, believes that new ways of doing business are here to stay.
I don't think it's going back. I think we're finding a new reality in regards to how our economy is going to operate from this point forward.
Historically low unemployment rates means it's tough for businesses to find workers. But Arizona Small Business Association board member Frank Divers believes the end to this struggle could be soon.
Statistics are starting to reveal that it is beginning to trend back. People are being incentivized based on the fact that the market is making them offers that they are like, wow, I probably should consider that.
Despite the many challenges COVID-19 brought, it taught all of us how to quickly adapt.
As bad as the pandemic was, it triggered the creative imagination of a lot of small business owners to start thinking, okay, well, if I can't do this, then what can I do?
In the end, many businesses came out of the pandemic stronger, with new tools they'll continue to use. In Phoenix, Ashley Hudgeleski, Cronkite News.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, during the pandemic, 56% of businesses experienced a decrease in demand for their products or services, and 19% closed due to government mandates.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thank you for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.